The rain had already soaked the sidewalk when people noticed the man sitting against the cold brick wall, his expensive suit darkened by water and his face buried in trembling hands. In the middle of a busy New York street, surrounded by glowing billboards and rushing strangers, a billionaire named Jonathan Reed was crying like a child who had lost everything. Not a single passerby stopped. To them, he was just another broken man swallowed by the city. But in that exact moment, when his world felt completely erased, one poor black girl would do something so unthinkable that it would change both of their lives forever. Before the story unfolds any further, take a moment to pause. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of small acts to change destinies, please like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, comment your thoughts, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps stories like this reach hearts that are still searching for light. Jonathan Reed had once owned the tallest glass building in Chicago, his name engraved on plaques, scholarships, and hospital wings across the country. He had grown up poor, fought his way through college, and built a financial empire that newspapers loved to praise. But success had come with isolation. His marriage collapsed under the weight of his ambition. His only son died in a tragic accident years earlier, and the boardroom battles slowly pushed him out of the very company he had created. On this night, after discovering that his last remaining assets were frozen due to a legal betrayal, Jonathan wandered the streets with no destination. His phone was dead, his wallet stolen hours earlier, and the city that once applauded him now passed him by without a glance. Every step felt heavier than the last. The noise of traffic blurred into a distant echo as memories flooded his mind. He remembered signing deals without reading the fine print, trusting men who smiled too easily, and choosing money over moments that could never return. When exhaustion finally overtook him, he sank onto the sidewalk and let the tears come freely. A billionaire reduced to nothing, crying in public, invisible in plain sight. That was when Alana Brooks noticed him. Alana was 12 years old, small for her age, wearing a worn-out hoodie and sneakers with cracked soles. She lived with her grandmother in a tiny apartment in Brooklyn, and spent her afternoons collecting empty bottles to earn a few dollars. Life had taught her responsibility early, but it had not stolen her compassion. As she pushed her shopping cart down the street, she saw the man shaking in the rain. Something about his pain felt familiar, like the nights she had watched her grandmother cry quietly over unpaid bills. Alana stopped. People brushed past her, annoyed by the cart, but she stayed still, studying the man. She had no idea who he was or what he had lost. She only saw someone hurting. After a long moment, she reached into her pocket and pulled out the only thing she had earned that day, a few crumpled dollar bills wrapped in a rubber band. It was meant for dinner. Without hesitation, she walked over and gently placed the money beside him, then did something even more unexpected. She sat down next to him, shielding him from the rain with her small body and her broken umbrella. Jonathan barely noticed at first, but when he looked up, he saw a child soaked and shivering, offering him everything she had. The shame hit him harder than any financial loss. This girl had nothing, yet she was giving him comfort without asking a single question. Alana didn't speak. She simply sat there, her presence louder than words, reminding him that he was still human. Minutes passed like hours. Eventually, Jonathan stood, removing his coat and placing it around her shoulders. He guided her toward a nearby diner, insisting through gestures and quiet insistence that she come inside. The warmth of the diner felt unreal after the cold rain. Jonathan explained his situation to the owner, a man named Thomas, who recognized Jonathan immediately despite his disheveled state. Thomas offered them food and helped Jonathan contact an old friend, a pastor named Michael Lawson, who still believed in him when the rest of the world turned away. That night marked the beginning of change. With Michael's help, Jonathan found temporary shelter and slowly began rebuilding his life, not his wealth, but his purpose. He searched for Alana every day, determined to thank her properly. When he finally found her grandmother, Ruth Brooks, he learned about their struggles, the medical bills, and the quiet strength that filled their home. Months later, Jonathan's legal battles resolved in his favor. The betrayal was exposed, his assets restored, and his name cleared. But he was no longer the same man chasing numbers on a screen. The first thing he did was create a foundation in his son's name, dedicated to supporting children like Alana, children who gave without expecting anything in return. He ensured Ruth received proper medical care, secured Alana's education, and remained present in their lives, not as a savior, but as family. Alana never saw herself as a hero. To her, she had simply helped someone who was hurting. Yet her unthinkable act of kindness reminded a lost billionaire of his humanity and showed the world that compassion does not come from wealth, but from the heart. Before this story comes to an end, please comment below and share what this story made you feel. Your words matter, and someone reading them might find hope through your honesty. As Jonathan stood years later at the opening of a community center in New York, watching children laugh where despair once lived, he often thought back to that rainy night. A moment when everything he believed about success was shattered and rebuilt by a poor black girl with nothing but kindness to give. If this story touched your heart, inspired you, or reminded you of the power of simple compassion, please like, share, and subscribe. Your engagement keeps stories like this alive, spreading light where it's needed most.